Good afternoon. All right, we're gonna. So I've already actually gone ahead and done some. I went and copy and pasted the basic example here from Unity's documentation. Basically, this right here for an example render pipeline. It doesn't actually have that much info, but yeah, it does set up the basic rendering. I actually did have an issue though, where when I first went and set this up, so what you have to do is you have to create a custom shader, and obviously this is where your lighting or whatever it is will be done, and you whatever you set to be the light mode as like custom render pass, this is how you identify your shaders for your render pipeline. So then when I'm doing the rendering, we do that drawing pass by doing drawing settings and then with that shader tag. But then I did that, and what I ended up finding, so the first thing I actually added, because I was too lazy to make this shader at the beginning, I just added, or I didn't even add a sphere, I just added a canvas and a UI and a text, and I noticed that the text didn't appear. I was just like, what the hell? And so I ended up going and doing the shader for this sphere, but I had to go and look up on the forums because they actually, I guess their documentation still isn't complete, because you need this extra code to draw the UI. And so now I'm also skeptical because the rendering is different between the editor and the actual like game view. So I'm worried while it works in the editor here, there might be more bugs in the game view, but I don't know what to do at that point. It's like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, see, it does seem to have, I was checking this stuff though, like it does have depth testing. Whenever I see one little issue like that, I all of a sudden become skeptical of all these other things that could not be working correctly. So I think my plan is to try and get some little simple lighting set up and actually do a little simple shader. Or, so at least for this, I think I'm just gonna do constant lighting just to start, just to practice some stuff in Unity's shader as well, like passing along normal from here. I actually haven't worked in Unity's shaders for a while, so this is actually really interesting. You're supposed to use HLSL program now, at least for like the universal render pipeline and all that, but here in the example they actually give for the custom render pipeline, they actually still, hold on, where is it? Wait, I don't know where I got this shader. Oh, I ended up copying this shader from the place I got the UI fix. So there's now two different shader programs. There's HLSL program and CG program, and CG program is the old version that we're technically not really supposed to use anymore, even though it still does work, and it's what I'm familiar with, so I kind of want to keep using it, but let's try doing their example shader. And so that apparently doesn't even need any include, just automatically includes Unity's matrix multiplier. Okay. So then we'll just copy the output here. I think some of these functions might be different. We'll see. Hello, Princess April. No. I can't hack Facebook. Oh, is there no more fixed for in HLSL program? I could have sworn there is. Well, you have any IntelliSense? It's shaders. Shaders generally don't have IntelliSense. I can't find any. See, this is what I hate about when Unity just all of a sudden switches to a new syntax like HLSL program. They still keep all their old documentation. So like they still have these documentation pages with fixed for on here. But it obviously doesn't apply anymore, at least for HLSL programs. Oh man. Unrecognized identifier fixed for. I guess fixed just literally might not be available anymore. That would be very weird. Maybe half is still available. I hope they haven't changed these either. Oh no, I should have kept this because I don't remember what the transform, I think it's transform text, but I don't remember exactly what it is. Man, I really should just keep using CG program, but at the same time it's like, if I'm using a newer version of Unity, I need to move to the new stuff. Alright, so here's a forum post about it. Currently deploying my own render pipeline, removing a lot of old references. Nope, doesn't actually have any real info about how it's different. No, transform text isn't defined anymore. So what is Unity CG .cg include but for HLSL programs? How to port old shaders to HLSL so they work. HLSL include stdlib. Maybe this is what I need. Oh my god, this just seems like such a mess. Maybe I should just use CG program. Oh my god, I might just use CG program because it's like if it's so much easier and it just works. Wow, their documentation is actually oh my god, why does it have me on the old documentation? How do I get to the latest documentation? Writing shaders, HLSL program. Originally used some CG program, Unity no longer, but the name is still there. By default, compiles it to the lowest in between 2 and 3 to make it okay. Oh my god. It's showing how to write CG program. It's not showing how to write HLSL programs. So I wonder if they are literally, they haven't even shipped like HLSL programs yet, because this is all using CG. All of their tutorials still use CG program. Okay, so this uses HLSL program, but it uses include files from that, so I can't use that. Oh my god, I actually think the state of Unity is a disaster. Every time I convince myself like, oh, I'll just work with whatever they give me, it's like, wow, what they give you is not looking good. So this is called HLSL in Unity, and they have HLSL program here. No, it's they actually don't have up-to-date documentation. This is horrible. So what I need is Unity HLSL includes. Cat Lake Coding is probably a good source. Unlit.hlsl. Core library, because constant buffers don't benefit all platforms. Unity shaders will allow macros to only use them when needed. The cbuffer start macro with the name parameter is used instead of directly writing cbuffer. Figure out when it's appropriate to use constant buffers and define the macros for self. We'll make use of Unity's core library for render pipelines. Oh my god, I literally need to make it dependent on Unity's. Okay, so yeah, I'm not using HLSL program, it seems like, because... But, oh my god, this is so conflicting. Because I think to support instancing, I need to use constant buffers. I feel like I shouldn't work on instancing yet, because one of the things I want to try to get working with this is terrain, because you actually have to do the splat map blending yourself for terrain in the shader, and I'm worried if I do the new HLSL program, the code for the terrain splat map blending that Unity provides is actually going to be in CG program and be incompatible. So I think I might do that first, but at the same time I want to get a reference for how instancing is done. Okay, I'm just going to use CG Program for this because apparently I can. I don't get why this example is capable of instancing with different colors. Doesn't this do the same thing as this? With different color values for each instance. Necessary only if you want to access instant properties in Fragment Shader. Oh, does this pass? Oh, this does a surface shader. Oh, okay. Alright, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to forget about this HLSL stuff. Okay, wait, let's see this. Information about shader code blocks. Other languages. HLSO program. Built-in, universal, high definition, custom. HLS include, yes, 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 yes. Built-in, yes, no, no, yes. It's the SRP core package. CG include, yes, no, no, yes. Yeah, definitely gonna do CG program. Come on, where is it? I'm looking for that page that has all the example shaders. Is it literally just using sampler states? No. Did they take out that page of example shaders? I actually think they took out shader tutorials. Let's see if we go back to 2019 if they have... Oh my god, they literally took out documentation from the newer versions. Morame, okay, Unicomp, look at this. This is horrible. This is like, I almost don't believe this, but it's Unity, so I do believe it. So look at this. This is like probably the most useful page on writing shaders in Unity. Vertex and fragment shader examples. It's literally a list of like step-by-step how to create a new file for a shader, has code on how to do an example shader. It explains each step by step, like by far most helpful page on how to write shaders in Unity. And you can see it's pretty long, like it covers all the way to making your own simple lighting. By far the most simple page. Ready? Ready? They removed it from the latest documentation. Oh my god. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is I've thought relocated. Shader examples. But I'm fairly certain it's not relocated. I just think that they're trying to update it and that they deleted the page without writing a replacement. Because it's just like, I don't think it's here. Look, it is not recommended to write your own shader programs. I think that's what they replaced. So look, this is the example shaders page now. It's not relocated. They just replaced it with a text page that says it's not recommended to write your own shader programs. Alright. Alright, Unity. I'm gonna go against your advice and I'm gonna write my own shader programs. Maybe less than 1% users need to write custom shaders. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's actually a pretty good amount. Like, I think most games at least need custom shaders in at least one part. So how different is this than the code I had before? So this is pretty much the code I had before. I think if I just undo everything, it'll just go back to, yeah, here we go. So I want to see if I can test if instancing is working. How do I view instancing again? I think there's a way to debug instancing and it shows which ones are instanced, but I'm not sure. Suggesting that you disable static. Oh my god, it conflicts with static batching. There's no way. No, they have to have a way for you to toggle. There at least needs to be a way, there should be a way for you to actually check if instancing is enabled so that you can have two shaders, one for without instancing and one for with instancing, because this seems ridiculous. Instancing variance. My question is, does this break the shader on platforms that don't have instancing? I feel like it shouldn't, because it's very easy using these macros to have it support both types of platforms. Let me just check again. What is supported? OpenGL4 ES 3.1 on Linux. So this is actually the requirements for Linux and Windows now. You need to have DirectX 11 to even run Unity these days. So this actually isn't bad. I don't really care about Mac. I do care about Linux though, but the ES 3.0 actually isn't much of a requirement. Okay, so if we do multiple spheres, so I saw in this picture someone had it actually show right here which ones were instanced. I wonder if there's a way for me to do that. Vulkan 1.0 without extensions is GLES 3.0. Oh. Okay, so the instancing doesn't work. It literally just makes the objects disappear. That's not a good sign. Maybe it's something about my custom render pipeline. Yeah, instancing can be really annoying, but like my logic is if Unity automatically handles it with these macros, then I'm very open to it. So my other thing is Unity hasn't had instancing for years. Um, and it's been pretty fast. So like that's my logic is like instancing shouldn't be necessary because Unity has previously been so fast without it. Unity custom render pipeline instancing. Like, I'm wondering if there's some custom code I need here when I do draw renderers. The other thing about instancing is it messes with frustum culling. Instance shaders work on top of vertex shader only, then launch fragments shader. That's overhead killing performance pretty much. Single C buffer. I'm just curious because I did copy this. Vertex input instance ID. It's really conflicting to me when I just copy and paste an official Unity tutorial and it just doesn't work. So maybe I'll try it without the texture here. No. Assertion failed. 0 equals built-in bind mask. Oh god. Value for is not completely initialized. Use just GPU instancing to draw multiple copies of the same mesh at once. Only renders identical meshes. Enable GPU instancing. Tick enable instancing. Displays this checkbox with material supports GPU instancing. When you use GPU instancing, following restrictions apply. Mesh render and draw mesh for instancing only bashes same mesh and same material. I feel like it's not just the same material because it says different colors here. From the material property block set on objects. So I need to actually set a property block, I think, instead of... I feel like this Unity object clip position isn't even working. No, it is. It actually is. Is there blending on this? Is that why if it has alpha, it's... That's weird. So as soon as I do access instanced prop, it doesn't work. Okay. Alright, so I guess all I need to do... So I guess actual instancing doesn't work in Unity very well. And that my best bet is to actually just write a normal shader like this, and then just have multiple compile instancing here, and then as long as these are all the same color, they should work. I am actually confused. Why does this not work now? Always use Unity object to clip position. World matrices need to function correctly. For something complex, compute or fragment shaders is better. See, that's actually the kind of cool thing I think about the system Unity uses. If you actually do Pragment Target 5, you can use nearly all the functions from compute shaders. So I think I literally just need the instance ID. And then maybe set up instance ID. Let's try without setting up. And then with setting up. Yep, okay, there we go. We got instancing. So now let's check this. So we got 2 batches, 4 saved by, does it actually say anything about instancing? It just says batches, saved by batching 4. So if we turn off instancing, that goes up to 6 batches. So we can actually see instancing working here. So that's very nice. Alright, I'm really happy with that, because like instancing, if you have tons of the same object, this is like such a good performance. Such a good performance enhancer. I'm gonna go get some water, and then I'm gonna try to do a terrain shader, because that's what I think I'm gonna really have trouble with for this. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna try to bring up one of the like universal render pipeline or something terrain shaders, just as a reference to begin. This is gonna be probably a nightmare. This is why I want to do this first, because this is something that's just really difficult, but like having terrain in your game is obviously crucial. So this is the part that's really difficult, is you need to do all of this splat and mask and splat mapping manually in your shader. So I think it's actually done in one of these lit passes right here where it like mixes the splat maps. We need to actually do this in our shader. So that's gonna be fun. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, hold on. I need to find a good way of figuring out how loud something is on stream, because I can't play it back to myself because it would create an echo effect. If you think about it, as I say, only for particles it's good because instancing does not do culling, and if you draw like 10k objects, it always launch 10k instance buffer calls, even if on screen a single object. And if you need just hundreds of copies, CPU culling can be better because CPU culling remove. Yeah, it depends on your context, but it's definitely good to have. I think there's a bunch of instances where like you have a whole bunch of things like grass or something. Actually, that's a good question. If we move one of these spheres off screen, our batches go down to 5. Which makes sense. But what happens with instancing? What if we do what you said and move all of them off screen except for one? Oh, nice. It still does culling. That's actually really good. I was actually worried it would actually have way worse culling for instanced objects, but It's all good. Need some hidden optimization. I guess they just decided it's worth calculating nice bounding boxes or whatever to get culling. Yeah, so particles are actually another interesting thing. I'm gonna need to make shaders just like for the terrain here for the particles. And actually, I don't think that. I think it's going to be a lot easier than the terrain here. That's kind of why I want to do the terrain first. But this stuff honestly scares me. Like the thing that this is using HLSL and hold on. Yeah, the fact that this is using HLSL, so like this isn't even really in the same language. Since I'm doing this in CG. Hold on, I actually feel like I have Unity built-in shaders here in my downloads folder somewhere. And that they should have terrain here. They should have terrain. So this is the issue though, it's split between... So this is vertex lit. Light map. Baked color. No, so this doesn't do splat map blending either. GLSL line cross convert GLSL to HLSL if you want. Yeah, so it's not, it's actually, it's the part that isn't shader code. It's like this stuff where it does like transform, the macros are different. It's like Unity specific functions are different between the two parts of the shader code. Pass, terrain splat map common. So where is terrain splat map common? Splat map mix. This is like the function I'm looking for in terrain splat map common. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. This is the dream right here. If I'm able to just include terrain splat map common and it'll give me a macro to do splat map mix, this is the dream. That is the dream. Whether or not I can achieve that dream, what about just draw terrain and ray marker? I hate ray marking height maps. Alright, terrain splat map common. Here we go. Okay, and wait a minute. I'm reading this from a zip file right now because I've been too lazy to extract it. That's why I keep opening it in a separate Unity, or sorry, Visual Studio. Yeah, I actually think this has most of what I need. So let's set up a little like demo. I'm gonna create a terrain. Actually, we need a terrain shader first. That just opened a new Visual Studio. So does this have properties? Or is this the properties? I feel like this is the properties right now. So what if I just do include terrain splat map common? Will this throw any errors? Unrecognized identifier surface output. And surface output. Is it because these are surface shaders and this is supposed to be... It doesn't make sense that they've enabled instancing on the terrain, but you can't instance terrain. I guess there was something, this was something where like they asked the shader developers add instancing in case they ever wanted to do instancing, and then they just couldn't do instancing on terrain. Define terrain surface output. I guess I could just copy this. Since this is designed here to work with surface shaders, and I'm not going to be using the Unity fog, put some music on and think. Oh, okay. So I managed to get it. I just needed to have these defines saying what pass it was. I just didn't understand. They have their shader wrapped in a whole bunch of macro defines. I just didn't pay attention before. So, I mean, if they do have all this instancing support here, I'm just going to follow it, and if it supports instancing, that's great. If it doesn't, whatever. Did it not clear up? What? It didn't even clear up these warnings in the console. Our terrain is invisible because we currently don't have any shader that can actually render terrain. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading at least to these. I can't remember how to transform the normal. Object to world normal. Oh god, I didn't mean to do that. Finds everywhere in the code, loves C programming. Yeah. I like it when I wrote the defines and I know what they all mean. So let's do simple Lambert lighting. There we go. Now let's apply that to the terrain. Why did that open the Speedtree 7 billboard? Okay, Unity. So let's see if we can't figure out how to do this. Nice. Okay, so I believe that we can just pass in app data full to splat-map vert. It'll output this input struct that we use as our fragment data structure, and it should pretty much handle everything for us, I believe. I think the issue is here is the terrain will only support at most 4 textures because I'll only be doing the base pass and not any additive passes. I think that's the issue. Otherwise, I also need to support this add pass. God damn it, Unity, this shit is really complicated. I don't even know which one here is the actual terrain shader. Like, which one of these is actually has the Unity / terrain tag? Nature / terrain / diffuse. Here it is. Dependency add pass shader. So I wonder if I have to use a surface shader. No, there has to be a way to do it without surface shading. But I feel like I need all these final pre-pass, final color passes. And like, what does dependency mean? Let me Google this. Because, like, I actually wonder if there's literally going to be no info on this, because, like, even this, this cat-like coding thing I found, I haven't found anything on custom terrain. Like, I actually wonder if there's no info on custom render pipeline terrains. I wonder if this use pass is where it happens. Alright, let's just try 4 Let's just try getting this working and doing this splat map vert. Okay, so for some reason, because of the base pass here, it doesn't include this when base pass is defined. I guess I just need to maybe create a dummy struct for this. Undeclared identifier Unity standard data, apply weight to gbuffer. We're gonna hack this to work. Function, return value missing semantics. Did I just forget how to rate shaders? Position, normal. I guess I'd do SV input. Function return value missing semantics. What does it mean? I guess maybe I do standard shader. I actually don't understand what these missing input semantics are. Parameter I, missing semantics. Yeah, so this actually probably won't work, because this is designed to use surface shaders and they just have a different syntax. Oof. So Unity designed these to work with surface shaders, which means they don't work with normal HLSL shader code. So all of these macros they made don't work with regular HLSL shader code. Only surface shaders. And surface shaders have lighting surface shaders basically you just program the surface and like the lighting uses Unity's built-in internal lighting. So exactly what I'm trying to do, make a custom render pipeline with custom lighting, doesn't work. I guess I just create my own structure. I guess I maybe could use these if instead of doing this hacky stuff I create my own structure here. Output parameter mixed normal, not completely initialized. So what does it do with the normal that's sometimes not initialized? So I guess we provide our own normal then? So it reads the terrain normal map here. I'm just gonna close all these other shaders. Oh man, so yeah, I think I'm gonna need to copy this. I'm probably going to need to do this clip holes as well if I want holes, but one thing at a time. Does it do anything to the normal here? I just realized this actually wouldn't even work. Because this input doesn't have any position output. And this actually wastes data because it calculates this again just for the fog to throw it out. Yeah, so I definitely should just take this and customize it. But like, this is the thing, I really feel like you shouldn't need to understand how they write all this shader code. They should just like have documentation on how their terrain passes information to shaders. This is just like, the other thing is like, I'm uncertain about whether or not it's going to support more than 4 splats or textures. I feel like it won't. just put some bumps here as an example, so that it has like lighting and stuff. Alright, so let's try to load the splat map now. I wonder when terrain is enabled, or instancing is enabled for terrains. So let's see, does this make it instanced? No. What? Wait. Huh. So I guess instancing just doesn't work. If instancing, then it modifies the vertex data based off the indexing. Oh, maybe I need to enable GPU instancing. No, that still doesn't work. Maybe instancing just doesn't work for terrain. Draw instanced invisible. Does it say anything about terrain here? No, it doesn't. And has draw instance enabled. Oh. Oh, wait. It's doing something. It's doing something. It's actually rendering. Okay. Sensing enabled. I wonder if we can actually check if instancing is enabled like this. So have an output red if instancing is enabled. Yeah. So that works. Position equals to the object to clip position. Instanced per pixel normal. So the fact that it's like teleporting all over the place Oh my god, this is an app data. Wait, does app data full have instance ID? If app data full doesn't have this instance ID, that could make sense. Actually, I think it does. I think I'm going to need to go into Unity CG to see if app data full has, yep, okay, it has the instance ID, so everything should be good. So why does instancing make it go absolutely crazy? I wonder if it's the same reason this the instancing buffer stuff breaks on the custom render pipeline. I'm having a feeling that this just isn't gonna work. That I'm just not gonna get. Rest of shader continues. Yeah, so I actually have this set up correctly. Let me try copying this to a temporary. No. Maybe I need to have this instancing options. Oh my god. It just took the instancing options. Beautiful. So I'm actually curious. How many batches does rendering terrain use? So 10 batches without instancing, 39 batches without instancing, 10 batches with instancing. very interesting. I don't know why, but I assumed that Unity's terrain was drawn basically in one draw call, but I guess not. Alright, very interesting. So actually I totally get why they enable instancing then, if it's all like the same. They're rendering like the same parts of the same mesh, multiple parts of the same mesh. Alright. So now the question is, can we do splat map mixing? And I think we can. I'm also going to add holes. Number of batches is number of LODs. Yeah, that's what I think it is. It needs to split them up into different meshes to do the different LODs. So basically copy this function and turn my fragment function into this. Okay, I can actually make this work with the splat add pass, I think. Because it already has this stuff here to clip the add pass. Hold on 1 second. Oh my god, so I actually think we've got this working. So this red is our first terrain layer, so if we paint this, we've got terrain. Yeah! I don't know how I just made that full screen. So Shift Space actually does full screen in Unity. I didn't know that. It gives a console error, but Poggers. Yeah, this is huge because, well, I don't know if I'd say huge, but I was saying at the beginning of this that the reason I did this first is because this is the hardest thing, at least for me, is dealing with Unity's terrain processing. So, now though, I'm gonna go and do more layers. And I think when I add a 5th layer, it'll disappear. Because what I think will happen is that it'll go outside of this add pass and get clipped. I'm not 100% sure though. I see the paid actor Beefy Benny Cool has showed up. Thank you. I don't know where you were. I paid you. Like 2 hours late. Holy shit, dude. My neighbor is doing like woodworking right outside my window. It's driving me fucking nuts. All of a sudden just hearing like a fucking drill and hammering right outside my window banging. So everything works. Opacity works. Alright, let's try some other layers. Which one of these textures do I use this time? Maybe something yellow? What is this called? Parametric light icon, I guess. I'm just using literally any of the built-in Unity textures that are different. Alright, so now this 5th texture I think shouldn't work, because it should require add passes, which I don't have implemented in my shader yet. Oh yeah. Okay. It makes it black. Okay. This is what I was talking about. So my issue is I don't know how to support add passes. Add pass. So I think I need to do the dependency system like this. Add pass shader equals this. And I'm also concerned that like details won't work. The current render pipeline does not have all detail shaders. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to actually have, I think if I add the dependency shader, then it'll work. Like, what if until then I just go like this? Is this inside the pass or sub shader or outside the sub shader? Okay. Current render pipeline does not have all detail shaders. What? I actually don't get it. What are the detail shaders then? Render pipeline does not have all detail shaders. What are the detail shaders then? Oh my god, I can't believe. Do I actually need to implement all of these shaders? There's actually no documentation when I look this up. This isn't even the same error. The current render pipeline does not have all detail shaders. Yeah, it is absolutely nuts that this is the state of Unity that you can't paint grass. That's the first pass shader to an instantiated material and assigns. So how are these other passes determined? What if I just set this to my custom RP shader? No, does not have all detail shaders. Current render pipeline does not have all detail shaders. Maybe this is an option. How do I set these shaders? That's my question. I wonder how it determines these passes. Like, how does it tell this from the grass? I guess I can go and look in the universal render pipeline and see how it defines it here. So here's the dependency. I legitimately don't get this. How does it identify? Do I just like do name terrain detail vertex? I legitimately don't get what marks it. What defines these detail shaders? Like how, what detail shaders aren't there? Like there's literally no documentation on what the detail shaders are. The best thing I can guess is that it's these detail shaders here that are the dependencies to the terrain shader. But even if you include those, it doesn't do anything. Like, what? The fact that this is on the Unity issue tracker and it's marked as postponed for the past like 3 years. The state of Unity is a fucking joke. Oh my god. Huh. Do not have all detail shaders. Unity tries to compete with Fallout 4 again. It's like they're competing with Bethesda for who can be the dumbest fucking developers. I actually hate that now anytime you go on Google for Unity, some of the top posts are just advertisements for the asset store. It's not even like anywhere close to a solution. So what if I go and I like copy these shaders? Like what if it's just using the name of the shader? No, I literally don't get what it could be using to identify these shaders. Hidden terrain details, universal pipeline. Terrain, lit passes. Maybe lit passes is what I need. No, this is just the code. Maybe it's this terrain utilities picking. Scene selection pass. guess you're my neighbor's dog. So it might be this render type grass billboard. Nope, no mention of detail or terrain shaders. Nope. I actually might need to go to like the Unity forums or something for this. Default graphics pipeline, override hidden / terrain engine / billboard waving shader by having your own version of the shader in assets folder. Name and size shader file must be matched. File name can be any. When switching back to editor, grass detail, you'll have to do this trick mentioned. The link. Control Z once. Detail shader will now switch to your own version. There are 3 references to detail shader that might be used based on your grass setting. Oh my god. So it might not work anymore. Finally found out a solution. What is this trying to overriding shaders of terrain grass? I just need to tell it apart. So where is this in my custom render pipeline? So funny enough, the universal render pipeline actually has more options there than my custom render pipeline. What? This is the pipeline asset. Debug. There's no shaders. Man, like, how can Unity literally suck this bad? Like, the engine was literally better 5 years ago. Like, I should actually go and download Unity 5.3 right now and just use that shit. Architect functionality. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna go and look at the universal render pipeline source code and see how that actually so this is a render pipeline asset. This is renderer. So I think I have to go to debug. Should have shaders somewhere here. Maybe not. Oh, here we go. Oh my god, I just misclicked and closed chat. So, what is this renderer? Is this the same thing as my custom render pipeline? Wait. I'm legitimately confused. What is that render pipeline variable? I literally don't understand this. It does not make sense. Wait, what? They have a whole custom editor just for these shaders. They have like a whole custom C# system just for... Oh my god, Unity's a fucking disaster, dude. How did they develop this and think that this was good? Like, how did they make this and think, oh, the purpose of us making scriptable render pipelines is so people can script their own render pipelines? But then they didn't think, oh, how are people going to understand how any of this stuff from scriptable render pipelines works? Holy shit. My question is, though, isn't even how do I change these shaders? It's how is Unity even setting that these are your grass shaders? Like, do you just have to replace it? I guess, like, literally all it's doing is replacing these shaders. Shader slash terrain slash waving grass billboard dot shader. Resource reloader, reload. No. Like, what is this even doing? It's literally loading shaders into a class, but then it doesn't even do anything with the shaders it's loaded in. I think it might do something with them here where you get them, but it's like spread between multiple classes. So how the fuck do they expect you to learn this? Oh my god. Unity scriptable render pipelines are actually horribly designed. Like, I go into this and I'm like, there's no way that a giant company like Unity designed something this badly. I must just be stupid, right? And like, I have literally spent over 10 fucking hours reading the documentation for this shit. And it's actually just horribly designed. So how does it set this? So like, it doesn't even do anything with this. That's what I don't get. Like, it has to actually be doing something with this terrain detail stuff. Working on 2019 override. All right. Not working anymore. To use resources asset of URP to make it work. I wonder if this is actually something you're literally supposed to fill out in the pipeline asset, and they just don't have it documented. Like, it might actually just be that this just isn't documented yet, and that's what you're supposed to do. So like when they create the pipeline asset here, it's completely empty. But in Unity's, they have this where it returns the default material and stuff like that. I feel like this is actually like, what if I do this in my custom pipeline asset? Oh, no errors? Oh my god! It's registering. It's not showing the error. I think I figured it out. Holy shit. So yeah, I think this is how you implement the shader. So if I remove one of these, it'll put back the error. Yup. Yup. Okay. So yeah, I'll definitely need custom shader for that. What's the default for this? Maybe I can include this and it'll somewhat work. so I'm gonna fork the custom RP shader. Some RP detail. So let's see what changes we'll have to make. Set up instance ID. So maybe it uses lightmap to encode UV. Or maybe that's just light mapping, I think. Maybe I just need to have instancing enabled or something. I can't really see what is different about this shader. So what if I just make it just lit? So then I guess something about the vertex processing right here. App data in, set up instance ID, UV. I can't figure out what's different about this. Maybe there's something different about this one. Maybe something about this output stereo. See, but that's for VR, so I don't see how you'd need that. Oh wait, I'm dumb. I haven't even changed it to my custom RP detail shader. Terrain detail vertex. Maybe I need that. I also feel like it might not be updating my render pipeline settings. Until I reload it. I guess I'll try the output stereo. Just seeing if there's anything different here. Multi-compile fog, light map, directional light. What if I disable instancing? It might actually be similar to the terrain, where I need these instancing options. Assume uniform scaling, all that. There's actually no instancing here in this setup, even though it has the setup instance ID. So maybe there's actually no instancing on this. I'm gonna try restarting Unity. Because like literally nothing has changed. And I feel like it should at the very least be like I mean the terrain was flashing. It was at least rendering. I feel like this should at least be flashing. Oh, wait. I might have to put it as a dependency in like this shader or something. Custom RP detail. So like I think it's placing details. I just can't see them because it's not rendering properly. I wonder if it's something in my custom render pipeline that it's just not rendering. I'm just wondering if there's a way to even check if it is rendering. Like maybe if instead of doing 2 clip space, I just do vertex and maybe hope it renders to the screen. Like on one hand, I almost feel like it's not rendering. Yeah, I don't think it's rendering at all, which is like, so now it's not giving me an error, but at the same time it's not actually calling my shader to draw the terrain details. Maybe I need render type equals grass. I'm just gonna keep trying to copy little bits of the shader till I find one that works. Nope, so that should still convert it to the clip position. Yeah, so I literally just think my shader's not being rendered, which doesn't make sense. Like, I'm thinking maybe I need another shader tag here. Instead of doing custom RP and instead of SRP default unlit, I need one for like terrain. But like, why don't they document that then if you need that? And I mean, the terrain is actually rendered through this. So maybe I need to load this outside of the get. And then I can also check if this is successfully loaded. almost feel like maybe making a new render pipeline asset. I can't remember where did I create RP asset? Is it down at the bottom here? Example render pipeline asset. Oh yeah, I have it under example render pipeline asset. Maybe I have to have this initialized. Nope, it's just not rendering. What? Maybe it's under a separate shader tag? No, it's definitely not. Alright, well, the way I figured out how to do it before was actually just going into the universal render pipeline and looking how it does it. So honestly, I think that's the way I'm gonna do it. I just, like, at the end of the day, I don't understand what Unity, the team at Unity's goal was with this. Because if the goal was to make a scriptable render pipeline that other people can make custom render pipelines, it was a complete failure because this fucking sucks. Like, this is horrible for creating your own, like, custom rendering system. It's arguably less customizable than their standard renderer back in Unity 5.3. So let's see if we can look at their render loop and see if they do anything special. Render camera stack, begin camera rendering. Clear, set up culling parameters. Camera shader constants. Render.setup, render.execute. How's this different from mine? So I use context.draw renderers. So this uses an actually different rendering function than me. So is the reason this is actually rendering different is because it's literally doing a different renderer. They literally tell you to do the wrong thing in the tutorial. I swear to God, if I replace this in my scriptable render and everything works, it's like mind-boggling. There's literally no documentation for this. Oh my God. The reason that I go and use Unity is because it's documented. And it's made by people who supposedly know what they're doing. But then I see this code and this lack of documentation. I really question any of that. So what is the, like, it's almost like they're actually using different code than my render pipeline. So let's see. Set up camera properties. Initialize camera data. So what is this scriptable renderer? Yeah, it's almost like they're using a different API than what they tell you. It's literally like they're using a different API than what they tell you to use. This is crazy. So I actually can't take the code that the Universal Render pipeline does because it uses Unity APIs that are undocumented. It's a fucking disaster. How is Unity releasing this shit and this is considered fine by people? Yeah, remember that open source engine by Amazon? Maybe I should look at that. Maybe I should look at that. So I'm just wondering if this uses this thing called scriptable renderer. How much you want to bet that scriptable renderer isn't documented? Scriptable renderer implements a rendering strategy, designing how culling and everything works. And it's part of the universal render pipeline. Are you kidding me? Do you okay. So part of their scriptable render pipeline, that's one of the core Unity APIs, relies on something that's in a separate universal render pipeline package. Something that is supposed to be core is actually in a completely separate package that has nothing to do with it. Like, I mean, it is somewhat... They're both renderers. They're both scriptable renderers. But, like... What? So then... How does this actually render? And why does it render terrain details and mine doesn't render terrain details? Set camera render state, execute command buffer, sort. Shader. Fill block ranges. In VR rendering. Execute opaque and transparent. Draw gizmos. So they use a completely different rendering API than we do for the custom render pipeline. So from what I understand, it's most likely it actually doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why theirs renders terrain details and mine doesn't. The only thing I can think of is that they actually have... Fuck, I don't even know. Do they have any mention of terrain or details at all here? No, they don't. Huh. So there's literally nothing different, but for some reason my terrain doesn't render grass or details. Dog, I'm actually thinking about going back to Unity 5.3 and just using the built-in renderer that I know just works. I know how it works. I know it renders specific passes in a specific order. But this is crazy. They have spent all these years pushing this scriptable render pipeline and creating this just so supposedly people can create custom pipelines, and we get this fucking undocumented trash. Like, it's actually a joke. Grass is only supported in the built-in render and universal render pipeline. That actually makes me think that you're not supposed to have grass in custom render pipelines. It's literally something that isn't supported. Which is crazy because of how, like, crucial grass is to a game. Oh my god. Wait, it's rendering. I just needed to disable billboarding. It's somewhat working. Hold on, I probably have way too much grass here. Okay. To a certain degree, it works. Just curious, why is it placing so densely? Yep, okay. So we got details. So the issue, I believe, is there's no billboard renderer. Terrain grass billboard. So I guess because this doesn't do billboarding, they don't show up. The terrain doesn't do automatic billboarding, it doesn't end up showing up. Does that mean that when I turn a specific direction, they will show up? No. So I guess I need a billboarding shader. Well, that makes sense. So the whole issue was that I just don't have billboarding set up, which I actually hate billboarded grass, so it's not too huge of a thing. Oh my god. Thank God that works. So there's actually some other stuff here I didn't realize. I actually saw a Unity forum post with someone asking how you set the default material shader for like Universal Render Pipeline or whatever. And I saw someone say, I think it was actually a Unity developer who said that it wasn't possible. But like then I found in this asset file, it actually has a default material. It actually has a default material getter. So this is actually what you implement in your own. This is just like the terrain lit shaders. Where, so, okay, can I just like, I'm really happy that this works, but just take a step back to where I was an hour ago. How fucking stupid is it that Unity has all of these undocumented variables that are basically crucial for creating your own custom render pipeline, and it's not documented anywhere. So when Unity says that they really care about people creating custom renderers and that they're putting their all into these scriptable render pipelines, I don't fucking believe them. Because if that is, their all is shit. Like actually horrible system. Actually horrible system. Alright, so this is like, this looks really bad visually. It's like really shitty lighting with completely white grass shaders with no texturing or anything, but it's basically like the proof of work. Basically going, alright, we can do custom rendering. We can render terrain, we can render the grass for terrain. The actual difficult part is now fixing it up to say have multiple passes so it supports this fifth and as many materials possible, and to do up this detail shader. But like, I don't have to do that all at once. The main part of this is going, okay, this works. This works. Custom render pipelines are possible. It's not well documented. It's not documented, period. But it's possible. Alright. I think that's going to be it for now. That was ridiculous. I hate going in and reading Unity developer code. I hate it. I hate it. I don't know if it's supposed to be nice reading this. Like, I guess them doing these giant summaries is nice. But at the end of the day, they do like these giant summaries over enums that are fucking obvious. And then the parts that you actually need documentation for, all of these supports and all that, zero documentation. Zero comments. It's like the stuff that it's obvious what it's doing, the post-processing solution used. No, really, the post-processing feature set is the post-processing option? Wow, I needed a comment to tell me that. Hold on. You're telling me that the color grading mode is the color grading mode. Great commenting. Great commenting. Keep it up. Fucking Unity, dude. Fucking Unity developers. Actually, people got paid to write this shit. Alright. Thank you for watching me rant about Unity for a couple of hours. Hopefully this will be not the last programming stream I do for a while. I'll see everyone around. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope your programming work and code you're working with is more documented than this. I'll see you around. Bye-bye. Have a good one.